This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, where we are still in this uncertain time that we're living in. And you may be worried, you may be concerned or feel threatened or be totally confused about what's happening with your career, what will happen should you take your business online, go digital, and if you do, what does that look like? And though I'm not going to promise to have all the answers today, we are going to have a discussion about what's the reality of the situation, and if any of us had a crystal ball, what might we suspect will happen? And today I'm talking to Tom Durkin, CEO of Health and Fitness Management Incorporated and owner of 4 fitness facilities in the Midwest, who's had a significant problem with the closing of fitness businesses in the last week. And, you know, it's made an impact on a lot of people's lives, not just his members, but his employees. So, Tom, thanks for being here.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so not the best of times. How does that go? The best of times, the worst of times? This is what year in your business, your fitness business life?
This is 40th. This is 40th year.
So this is your 40th year. This is probably the most unique and I would tend to say worst you've ever seen.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt, this is blindsided everyone, and there's no rule book. You know, usually when you have something happen in fitness, after you've got 40 years of experience, they come to you and they say, what should we do? And you've usually seen some shape, you know, or you've been through so much stuff. A lot of it is not new. And if it is new, you've been through part of it before. There's no playbook for this. There's no wise old man on this deal. No one knows, and it changes hourly. And it's been very disruptive.
So just for listeners who don't know, so you and I used to work together. I was personal training director for about 6.5, 7 years. I was, for a very short time before that, the group fitness director, and then interim, all of that, also a personal trainer. So worked with you in lots of different ways, and in fact worked at the front desk a lot longer ago than that for you. But so that they know our relationship, now that they know I'm also 100% digital, other than when I might go in or I might go to speak to a group or do some consulting. But your business is entirely face-to-face. So right. For trainers who that's them to a T and exactly the same, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts about how you can take anything that you do online or do it digitally and try to still offer services to customers and clients? Are you trying to do that, or what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, we are trying to do it. We, our business, our model is face-to-face, brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. And so we are trying to get in front of this, and we are trying to offer services digitally to our customers through personal training, through group fitness, and et cetera. And I would think that the fitness centers and the trainers that do offer, services during this uncertain times, that it's going to put them ahead when this all comes to an end. However, I would say to you that, we're not very good at it, and that I don't know if we're exactly filling the niche that our customer base is looking for. And so, the better you are at a multifaceted front, if you will, to serve your customers, the better off you're going to be. And, it was interesting. I think Tuesday, 17th of March, I was given an hour and a half by the governor, I think at 10:30 that morning. She said, you need to be closed at noon. The Friday before, I had a plan in place on how I was going to operate as this thing continued to grow. And then it just all went out the window that quick. So we had an hour and a half to notify 25,000 members that the products and services that we are offering will no longer be available to them, and we can't tell you when we're going to reopen. And as I talk to you on the phone right now, we're not sure. So, the more information you can get out to your customers and the better quality of information you get out to your customer, I think the better off you're going to be today, tomorrow, and for certainly in the future. How this impacts the fitness industry going forward will really be interesting to see.
So there are a lot of people, I think, right now who are feeling the crunch. I mean, from all sides. Obviously, trainers, anybody who's lost their job right now or temporarily has been laid off and has no timeline, no crystal ball to see when is that going to change. They're all not feeling good, but I think there are a lot of people in our space with health and wellness and fitness that feel like this might be a time when we give, because people are hurting and people are scared, and it may not be the time to turn around and charge for services unless someone was already a client and now we're continuing them. So what are your thoughts on that? Being a giver, being, not necessarily asking right now for those people who need it, trying to offer some additional services or insight and offer value to them according to what they need now. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think, we're all in this together. And, now's the time to lead. So if you want to make an impact with your customer, anybody can talk about it. I mean, so, for instance, as soon as we knew that we were closed, we put out the message that every membership will be credited for all downtime. And we closed at noon, and we got that out at 12:05. And, that's a significant amount of revenue. And we had a lot of people email us back or post back that they said, hey, you know what, I don't care about, I'll take my money and give it to someone who needs it. Take my dues of 50 or 100 or 200, whatever the fee is, and give them to someone that needs it. And so I just think now, I mean, in our state, we had our first death today in the state of Iowa from this virus, and I don't know where it's going to end. But I would say that, if you can be a giver and be in front of this thing, I think it's going to pay huge dividends. And even if it doesn't pay you monetarily, it's the right thing to do.
And I appreciate you saying that. Just for listeners who are maybe listening later. So today, as we record, being the day of the first death in Iowa, and wouldn't it be nice if we're actually saying the first and the last or the only death in Iowa, today on March 24th. And I'm going to have to ask for clarity on that. Is that right? No, it's the 25th, and 25th. That's the way the days are going, right? They're blurring, and You're not quite sure what day is this. Can I ask you, what's the climate of, your employees, the trainers, everybody really who doesn't know when they're coming back or what they should do? What are they doing, or how are they looking to you for leadership?
Well, so I think on the Tuesday when we closed, I think we officially laid off 250 or 275 employees. And the people that personal train, obviously it impacts them a great deal. Not only impacts them, financially, but it also impacts their customers. And so we are trying. We have some trainers going to homes, going to or customers' homes to train, but we're not big fans of that. We don't know enough about this virus, and I don't want to put anyone in harm's way, but we've had many requests for that. We've had some customers want to go to the trainer's home, and same thing there. We're not super excited about that idea. That just seems like, a lot could go wrong there. I would say the overall mood is of deep concern. We don't know when we're going to get operational. We don't know the extent of this disaster, and so it's hard. And so on a daily basis, I try and touch base with all the department directors so they can reach out to their group of employees and try and keep them on as informed as possible, and let them know that we're doing everything. We are taking this downtime inside the facilities to clean everything top to bottom. We're doing a lot of maintenance, painting, and fixing equipment with the hope that when we do get open, we'll be brighter, cleaner, and better. So, we're optimistic. I saw President Trump said that he would like to see everything by April 11th, or I guess Easter Sunday, April 12th, to be back to normal. I don't know if that's a realistic target or it's not realistic. I mean, that sounds nice, but I don't know if that's a safe target. And so it's there's great concern, and so we're just, like I said, it's every day is changing, and so we're not 100% sure exactly when it's going to end or how it's going to end.
And you said something there. So you said back to normal, but we're probably not going back to normal. So even if it was optimistically, I think April 11th, even if it was then, a lot will have changed. And like you said, will people be nervous about using gyms, and the cleanliness or the question there of public facilities? But what do you think? How will we be changed? And let's start with the positive. Will there be positive impact from what we're experiencing right now?
I think, yes. I think the positive is going to be again, there is going to be a renewed sense of your health and the importance of your health and how fragile you are. And that from your nutrition to your sleep to your hydration to what you do to take care of your cardiovascular system, your immune system, I think that's going to be in the front page and in the front of your mind for the rest of your life. It's going to be impossible. This has affected the whole world. And so I think from a positive standpoint, I think people, from a health standpoint, will be much more conscious of what they're doing and how often they're doing it, and trying to do everything they humanly can to protect themselves from disease. On the downside, for the fitness industry, are you going to do it at home? Are you going to do it digitally? Are you going to risk it? Are you going to go out into these crowds? And so I think until we get these answers, I think it's going to be a gray area. And there'll be pluses and minuses to it. I would love, obviously, for business to go back to normal. And I think that that's probably not realistic that that's going to happen. And so I think it will. I think it will. I think you and I have talked before, that when Obamacare came out, I think one of the benefits of Obamacare, it talked about the cost of health insurance. And that, you and I have talked before, Deborah, that if your fitness costs a lot, don't get sick. If you can't afford fitness, you certainly can't afford sickness. And this is another example. I heard the governor of New York saying that he needed 38,000 ventilators, and he's got 4,000. So, I just think it's going to heighten everyone's awareness to the importance of exercise and fitness and taking care of yourself. And but I do think it'll probably push the digital world much more. I think it'll just be a bigger player. It's a big player now, and I think it'll be a bigger player in the future.
So, and when we say that, so I feel like from sitting somewhere where, 8 years ago, I wasn't here yet. Now I am, 100%. you're not, and you haven't,
right.
but
Right.
we may or may not have had this conversation several years ago, that the best of both worlds would be to have a brick and mortar business and digital services. I mean, do you see that as being a part of your future, and that right now may be an opportunity for you to get those ducks in a row?
Well, it's certainly a good kick in the butt. I don't know if the ducks are in a row, but I would say it's a hell of a wake-up call. And if you're not awake now, you're never going to be awake. And so you're 100% correct, is that I think, little businesses like mine need to put the resources towards digital. Because for us to be successful going forward, we're going to have to offer more than one platform. And we're fairly good at this one-on-one stuff. You come into brick and mortar and we do our training. We're fairly good at that. But there is going to be a lot of people, I think, who are still going to want training in our community, but maybe are not going to feel comfortable coming into the facility, and are maybe going to go out and spend X amount of dollars, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on exercise equipment at home, and they're going to want some type of professional instruction. We don't feel very comfortable sending our trainers into someone's home. There's liability issues going both ways. And so if there was some type of platform or that we could service this portion of the customer base, we're certainly going to take a look at it.
Yeah, great comment. And I agree. I think, this will be really a learning experience to see what happens to so many people right now who are, maybe not being serviced by trainers and not used to the idea of doing their session by Skype or by Zoom or by FaceTime, and didn't realize that was an option, and finding out that because they are given the opportunity as opposed to forced to try something new, that it works, and maybe that it's more convenient. And so it may change forever the face of a lot of fitness businesses. But even if we're right here at March 25th while we're talking, April 11th, to a very small business owner or to a personal trainer who's living paycheck to paycheck is a long ways away. And, do you think, as I do, that there will be a lot of trainers who feel like they've got to go and finally get a real job, something that's more dependable, not necessarily service dependent? Because I think in a lot of trainers' minds, that's still in the back of their heads, even on a good day 2 months ago. What do you think will happen to all of the small businesses, the little studios, the trainers who are independent?
Well, I think it's going to be tough. And I think that's right. I know you're right, but it's sad commentary, because I think there's a lot of really, really good trainers out there. And I think that there's also some that aren't so good and probably shouldn't be out there. But, our need for health and wellness and education is not going to go away. And, I think this example, it just shows us exactly how vulnerable we are. And so I think it would be hard if you had a small personal training studio and you had to shut your doors for 30 days or 60 days or to come back from that. And, I know how much it's impacting me. And so I can imagine it would impact these smaller studios. I would say this too. I still think, there's a heck of an opportunity here too, for the people who do reboot themselves and hang in there. You'll come out stronger. You'll come out better. Now you're going to have to maybe add programming. You're going to have to, continue to improve your services and continue how these platforms get rolled out. And you're going to have to make changes. Because that's what people are looking for. But people wanting to stay healthy and live longer and get more out of their life, that's never leaving. That is never leaving. And so I think there's a heck of an opportunity for the right person out there. And so I would hate to see, even if your passion is fitness, it's a grind. It's a grind. I don't care what your passion is. I mean, if you're going to be great at something, you got to work. And you got to work 3 times harder than the next guy. And this can be your passion if you're going to be great. And so I just think that these studios, I mean, I think they're going to have to make changes. I think they're going to have to roll out new products. I think they're going to have to reboot this thing, rethink this thing. But at the end of the day, I think they'll have a better service and a better product, and they'll be multifaceted, and they'll appeal to a broader demographics, and I think that's critical going forward for your success.
Mm-hmm. And I love that, and I want to pick that out. So, appealing to a broader demographic, which is, wonderful, meaning hopefully we're on the same page that we're penetrating more people who are not currently exercising, and yet doing it with a deeper niche. So people are getting more specialized, and I would say that for any trainer right now who is laid off or not training as frequently because maybe you are able to piecemeal and do a little bit of digital work, but maybe not all customers or clients that you're working with are willing to do that and see value in it yet, you can be creating and spending your time very wisely, creating something that will support you right now because it supports them right now. Mm-hmm. There are things right now that people need, and you can be a problem solver. And if you're spending your time doing that, you're spending it productively. And I won't say that, spending time with your family or taking time off or doing self-care right now isn't also important. It is. But I think to get out of that spinning around in your mind about what might happen and how terrible this is and the worry, if you can get up in the morning pretending that you're going to work and that you're sitting down problem solving, thinking, who is that one person I want to serve? What is their biggest problem right now? How can I be a solution for that? And creating something, whether it's a book or a 5-step guide, or it's a video series, or it's something that you can get to them right now. I think that is one way to reach out, be of service, and give in a way that helps them now but will come back to you later. Because you were the resource, you were the expert, you were the voice they listened to, and that was there for them when they needed it. Your thoughts on that?
That's 100% correct. Yeah, that's 100% correct, and people remember it. Yeah, and people will remember that you helped them in a time of needs. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Where do you go? So trainers, I'm hoping, are, some of them listening here, some of them going to their own space, sitting down and thinking, who is this client that I loved working with? I love if I would have a day where I worked with only clients just like that, and focusing on that person, not focusing on the broad perspective, but that person, because you've got to be talking to one person or you're talking to nobody. So, we're hoping that we're giving personal trainers or health coaches listening some advice about how to be productive in these really uncertain times. And I'm going to link to a podcast I did a few days ago. But for you, for business owners, where are you going? Where do you go to look for some inspiration or for the what do I do now in this situation?
Well, I think in this circumstances, there's no experts. And, I just think that, it's important to show leadership and to stay calm. And so I try every single day to reach out to our employees and to our managers and to our groups to reassure them that, we're doing everything we can that we do get reopened to make the facility safer and a better product. on the second part of that, I don't want to mislead anybody because I truly don't know when that's going to happen. And so, but you have to have faith and you have to have hope that, and we're going to find a cure, we're going to find an answer for this, and we're going to come through this and be better off on the other end. But it is a challenge, and as the death tolls mount, it becomes more and more difficult, to put a fine point on this thing and say, hey, this is when we're going to be back in operation. And so, to answer your question, I just try and reach out to them and talk to them and email them and text them to reassure them that we're going to get through this, and that they are also then trying to reach out to their clients and to their employees, and it's a trickle effect. It's a trickle down effect, and to try and keep everybody together. And but you do make a good point when, at this time of need, when people are so scared, that if your trainers and your professionals reached out to these people and in their time of need, it would pay big dividends because they would remember that, and that's good for the customer, that's good for their business going forward.
Yeah, and you commented earlier on, great leaders lead, and so what you're doing, hopefully then in meta, looking at you, your trainers are turning around and doing it, your managers are turning around and doing it to the people who are working for them, and this is definitely not a time to go quiet. Your people need to hear from you, and they're on Facebook like a lot. So there are some really good places to be there and not be emailing, but be literally going on the platforms where they're already visiting, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. That would be one of the pieces of advice that I give to trainers. If you've got already some followers, making sure that they're hearing from you in the places where they're used to seeing posts anyway. Make sure that they're relevant and they're live video, and that also will go a long way. And I know it feels potentially like they don't need to hear my voice too. There's already pollution out there. But if they've been following you, they've been your clients, they do. They've been telling you, I want to hear from you. You are my expert. So don't go quiet now. Speak up now.
That's exactly right.
Any last question that I should have asked you about this that I didn't?
No, I just think it really emphasizes the importance, of how fragile we are. And I think it also illustrates the importance of what you're mentioning as far as not to go silent now with your customer base, is that to be out there and to lead them and to try and be a reassuring voice, because people just don't know. And I don't know. I hope you and I can talk again soon, and I hope this is behind us, and I hope we have a solution for this. And but in the short run here, it's a new normal. The normal that I have known for the last 40 years, I think, is out the window. And so I think, the advice that you're giving your listeners, but also I'm taking from you, is that, we need to continue to change this model. And, in my arena, the brick and mortar model of going face to face, we are slow to change. We say, hey, it's working. And, and that's bit us in the butt. We should have been more proactive. And so this is a good wake-up call. It's an unfortunate wake-up call, but it emphasizes the importance of having resources available to touch all your customer base. And I just think going forward, it's going to change a lot of the day-to-day procedures, and we're going to have to be able to change with it to survive. So.
Well, thanks so much for commenting And I know, it feels a little bit like maybe we were unproductive because we didn't relay any answers. But I also think that, just as we said, we're all looking for community, and even the conversation, even if it's frank and declaring we don't have all the answers because nobody does, is at least a way to keep trainers in touch with, what we're doing, whether you're in, a business like you are that's more brick and mortar, or you're online, or what you can be doing proactively right now. And that, it's definitely going to bring about some changes. You're not going back to the way things were, but as we go forward, there could be a lot of positive things that happen from this too. So thank you again for being here.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Trainers, if you're listening and there's a question that I didn't ask that you have, you can leave that below the show notes at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/updates. And what are you waiting for? I know you're not training clients today, but you can still be working on your business.